Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You could follow us on X, YouTube, and digperspectives.com for exclusive content right now. $3.24 trillion market cap for crypto. The market's off 3.8%. Bitcoin dipping down to 95,300 plus, 2,500 plus, almost 2,600 for Ethereum. XRP at the number 4 spot at $2.39. We're off 2.9 into 24 and off 4.7 on the 7-day. The range of price very quickly between 235 and 247. So we have a wide spread. Normally XRP is usually ranging between a cent or a cent and a half, right? So the market is moving around. We just don't know exactly which way it'll go today, which has been this way for a few weeks now. So, but there's a lot of great fundamental news to drop in front of us. Like we just saw this yesterday, Trust Wallet supports the XRP Ledger network, and now 190 million people globally have access through Trust Wallet directly to everything on the XRP Ledger. That is super exciting news. Meanwhile, Goldman Sachs doubles its investment in Bitcoin, $1.5 billion held in ETFs so far for Goldman. And then we see just in, Crypto.com receives regulatory approval to provide crypto services to all European Economic Area member states. So this is big for Crypto.com. And we could see, look, Europe came out with the MiCA regulations that pushed Tether out of the EU. They've now relocated to El Salvador, and Tether has now been told that Bitcoin, and all the Salvadorians down there have been told that Bitcoin was mandatory, and now it's not. The IMF has done a loan for $1.3 billion, I think it was, and they've changed the law in El Salvador. It is not mandatory to accept Bitcoin as currency. It's now optional. Things are changing very quickly. Meanwhile, changing here home domestically, Trump appoints Brian Quintenz as CFTC chair, signaling a major shift in crypto oversight plans, and this is what they're going to be here. It says essentially here they're grabbing Brian Quintenz, who was at the commissioner of CFTC for 2017 to 2021. He came from Andreessen Horowitz, and I'm wondering how they're going to deal with the fact that Ethereum is backed by the CCP China, because he didn't do anything about it the first time he was there. So will he do something about it this time? Meanwhile, the CFTC is preparing for broader responsibilities, particularly in stablecoin regulation and market oversight. The agency will soon host discussions on stablecoins, prediction markets, and digital asset rules. Policymakers increasingly stress the need for clear, enforceable crypto regulations. As we know, one of Trump's major proposals is shifting oversight of Bitcoin and Ethereum from Securities Exchange Commission to the CFTC. These two assets account for nearly $2.2 trillion in market value, which is about 70% of the global crypto market. Now, former CFTC Chair Christopher Giancarlo, also known as Crypto Dad, supports this change, arguing that the CFTC is better suited to regulate them as digital commodities. He recently stated that with proper funding and leadership, the CFTC could start regulating digital commodities immediately under Trump presidency. And I say we'll take that over the SEC any day of the week. Meanwhile, here is SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce, who says she's excited when it comes to crypto.
Does that mean that, in your view, crypto does have a purpose? And what is that purpose?
Well, I think that there is a lot of really interesting work that is being done and that will be done involving crypto. I mean, the technology allows people to coordinate in ways that was not possible before, people who don't know each other. In the past, it's been very difficult for people to build something with other people across the world they don't know. But this creates a trust mechanism that really does enable people to do interesting things. You can build things on a public blockchain, and you can build things in the financial world. We might see some integration of blockchain technology into the traditional financial world. you can do things outside of finance as well using the technology. So I think it remains to be seen where it will go, but I'm excited to see where it takes us.
You referred
Excited to see where it takes us now that we're not using regulation by enforcement. And look, we know that she's never been down with that anyway. But then she goes on to comment here. Hester Peirce states that many meme coins likely fall outside the SEC's regulatory jurisdiction. And if they're going to be treated like collector memorabilia, like baseball cards, which I think is the right way to handle it, this would make sense that the SEC stay out of this completely. However, there is something I want to highlight in here. Let me see if I can find it again. Let's see. It doesn't mean a free-for-all, says Hester Peirce. She said, we have rules in place. Those rules will be enforced. So, although she's suggesting that meme coins not be regulated by the SEC, which I agree with, she also says this doesn't mean it's a free-for-all. So approach with caution, ladies and gentlemen. Approach with caution. Meanwhile, this is breaking news right here. We could see the SEC acknowledge Grayscale's XRP ETF 19B-4 filing by tomorrow. How about that? Now, it doesn't mean it gets approved, but we could see it acknowledged. And obviously, again, with Trump appointing Brian Quintenz to the CFTC chair, this is signaling a major shift. So are we going to see this get pushed back at the SEC just because Paul Atkins is not approved or confirmed, I should say? Maybe. Maybe they put a delay on it. Maybe they put another 45 days on it and then let Paul Atkins do it when he comes in. I don't know the answer. However, let's see. Well, that's the Brian Quintenz. I'm going to have to take that out of there. I want to remind everybody about this. Do you remember when we covered 3 years ago the SEC voting unanimously to move forward with same-day settlement, citing distributed ledger technology as indeed a solution that they're working with?
The ever-increasing pace of advancements in technology, including distributed ledger technology, further shortening the standard settlement cycle in the near future may be both desirable and feasible. Indeed, some such efforts are already underway.
Today, we do have those technologies not only to shorten the settlement cycle to 1 day, but also to shorten key elements of what's called the clearing process, that which goes on before. Also, I think rather important, it requires 3 important steps in that clearing process, the back office plumbing process of affirmation, i.e. to fully automate transaction processing. Again, lowering risks in the system. Now, separately, the Commission is also issuing a robust request for comment around areas to consider with respect to potentially achieving same-day net settlement in the future. Net, because it's still netting positions, but possibly moving the money, moving the securities in the evening or end of day. The technology actually exists today, not just for same-day affirmation, confirmation, and allocations, but even for same-day settlement. How do commissioners vote on the division's recommendations to amend the Securities Exchange Act on clearing and settling?
Listen.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes, the recommendation is approved unanimously.
And there you have it. And the reason I'm showing you that again is because of this. Charles Schwab is now allowing 24-hour trading to all retail clients. You can now dig in out on stocks and ETFs all night long. And in their test pilot, they found most popular times between 8 and 9 p.m. and 3 to 4 a.m. It does not say in the article what technology they're using or what protocols they may be using or distributed ledger technology at all. It doesn't mention a thing. But we know currently they don't have the ability to run 24/7, 365 unless they do switch to something like that. So this is getting interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Meanwhile, this is a fantastic story here of how Brad Garlinghouse and Mike Novogratz, of all people, lent Moonpay $160 million during the launch of Trump token. Take a listen to this story. It's fascinating.
750,000 new Moonpay accounts in the last 7 days. What should they buy next? You just told me a crazy story that is linked to one of my previous podcast guests, Mike Novogratz. Can we go deeper into that?
Can I give you the a little bit longer version?
Yeah,
'Cause
absolutely.
I gave you a very abbreviated version, which was Ivan and I have been going for, my phone starts blowing up, hundreds of texts. Everyone is like, Trump just launched a meme coin, and it went to $4.6 billion in like an hour. I don't know. We had a meeting the next morning at 8 a.m. The whole goal was we wanted to have the meeting, and then we were going to finally take a break for the whole day. We were just going to relax. We finished the meeting. We have breakfast. We're going through sort of what we need to do to follow up. And then we walk back to the hotel. I'm so happy to like go back in. We get a call. Mona calls, who's our CFO, and says, Keith, Ivan, we have a problem. Trump coin is so popular. And because the Trump team directed it towards Moonshot, and we had no clue that this was even going. Moonpay has the exclusive rails in Moonshot. The volumes were just gigantic. All of the liquidity that we use to sort of acquire the crypto to sell the crypto, like, was locked in BlackRock accounts in a traditional finance sort of manner. And it's Saturday of a holiday weekend during the inauguration. So we have no access to our capital. All of the reserves that we have are dwindling really fast. Well, Mona, how much money do we need to raise? And she's like, it's not money. We need crypto to be able to buy this, right? Like, we need USDC. How much do we need? She goes, I'm doing the math at the current rate, $50 million by midnight tonight, 11 o'clock in the morning. Okay. And Ivan's like, okay, are we sure? She does the math again. She's like, honestly, the rate that this token is growing and the demand that we're seeing, $100 million. We have to find $100 million by when? Midnight tonight. By the way, we know that on Tuesday we can pay it all back because we have the money in the bank. It's just we have no access to it. So I text Mike, I'm sorry to bother you on the weekend. Do you have a minute to chat? Within a minute, he texts back. We get on the phone with him, and Ivan and I explain the situation. And Mike says, well, you know, guys, I like you both. I like the team. It's good for the space. How much do you need? $100 million in USDC. Mike goes, okay, no problem. Let me see what I can do. Whole conversation, 2 minutes. Yeah. 5 minutes later, we get a call from Mike's team, the team at Galaxy, absolutely amazing. So we start scrambling, the finance team, everyone's scrambling to get all the forms going. Later in the day, it turns out that we get a call. They can't confirm that the funds are real because it's a Saturday and no one at BlackRock is picking up the phone call, and they can't confirm if they're liens. And so fortunately, Lindsay Haswell, our chief legal officer, sits on the board of BlackRock's ETF. She's calling her friends at BlackRock. We get someone who can confirm the funds. Chris over at Galaxy calls up and he's like, guys, hand on heart, give me your word that you have no liens on these funds. In the meantime, after we gave our word, they asked Ivan to personally pledge his entire life, like his entire personal net worth, on the line for this loan. Not even a discussion. Signs away, pledges his entire life. We call Ivan's sisters up, goes to his house to like access a computer, get some Bitcoin to liquidate, and he's liquidating his personal Bitcoin and like sending it to Moonpay to make sure that we stay up and running. And finally, at 11 o'clock at night, the money comes through, $100 million. So I go to sleep at like 1 o'clock in the evening. And at that point, Trump coin was, I think, $30 billion. I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm thinking to myself, finally, a day that I could rest. And I look at my phone, and Trump coin is $70 billion. And I look at my computer. There's a Slack message from our head of product, JD. Ivan, Keith, what you did yesterday was amazing. But if we don't raise another $60 million today, we're going to run out of money by tomorrow morning. The rate that we're going, this thing is just picking up.
Just if you concretely run out of money, what does it mean?
When people try to like buy crypto with Moonpay, it just says, sorry, it doesn't work. Like, we had 750,000 registrations, right? So I'm giving you the perspective of Ivan and I raising capital, but like at the same time, the operations team is working like nonstop. The Melania sort of launch happened at the same time. It essentially was the equivalent of a DDoS attack on Moonpay's like servers, right? Because it was just everything coming full force. Ivan comes running over to my room in his bathrobe. And so Ivan goes, you know who I could text? You know who I think could come through is Brad Garlinghouse. So Ivan texts Brad at 7 in the morning. Brad responds immediately, says, no problem, guys, meet me at the Waldorf Astoria at 10:45 in the morning. And Ivan goes into explaining to him, you know, yesterday Novogratz gave us $100 million. Like, we underestimated this demand of this Trump token. And Brad goes, well, listen, same thing as Mike. I'm going to call our CFO and chief legal officer, see what we can do. Here's the deal. We want to help you, but you got to get Novo's team to approve it, which is fair. They helped us out the night before, and it was the right thing. To Galaxy's team's credit, they're like, listen, guys, like, if they repaper everything, you're never going to make your deadline at the end of the day. It was like 5 o'clock at night. What we suggest is, why doesn't Ripple wire the money to Galaxy, and then Galaxy can wire the money to Moonpay? And at 11:58 on Sunday, another $60 million comes through. Monday comes around and the acquirers start to pay us back from the floats in Europe, but it's still a holiday in the US. Tuesday comes around, like we have access to our capital again, all of the US acquirers start to pay us back. And by Tuesday, I think around 2:58 in the afternoon, we paid back the entire loan. What I walked away from was, these are just two amazing individuals. To the level that, like when you said that you had Novogratz on your podcast and you spoke to him, if Mike or Brad ever needed a kidney, I should be the first call they give. I would give both of my kidneys. To put into context how big the Trump coin was and the Melania coin was and how it impacted Moonpay. Over the course of a week, we onboarded 750,000 new consumers. That was my weekend, which was, I hope...
That's an incredible story, and Moonpay is going to be at XRP Las Vegas. Get your tickets. I tell you, if you've never been to a conference, first of all, this is going to be an informative, fun conference, and you will learn so much, you won't believe it, that you won't learn if you're not going to be there. And you have to go to these things to find that out. That's the truth. And I'll tell you this, if you're by yourself and you think it's I don't want to go there, I don't know anybody, let me tell you something. Everybody there loves XRP and where things are going. You will feel like you have just shown up and found family you didn't know you had. That's the other part of this that's really beautiful too. Taking a look at this, Ripple puts out real-world asset tokenization. And let me just say in summation there, look, I don't know Novogratz to be a good guy from what I've heard of him, but I tell you what, that is a classy thing to do for Moonpay from Brad and Novogratz. So it is something to know about someone, right? And it does help round out the idea of what you know of someone for sure. Looking at this, Ripple real-world asset tokenizations reshaping finance, I'll say, and not soon enough, because if it was already tokenized, Moonpay wouldn't have had the problem they had over that weekend. How about that one? And take a look at this. Monica Long, the president of Ripple, has really, really stepped forward in the last 6 months or so here and just extremely bullish. I love the way she's speaking so strongly now about where things are going. Take a listen to this here. DeFi has primarily catered to crypto holders and traders, seeking to maximize yield on digital assets. And we're starting to see a shift towards applying DeFi to traditional real-world financial use cases. Imagine FX markets with instant, cost-efficient settlements, commodities with transparent tradable tokens, bonds with 24/7 trading and automated payments, and ETFs and mutual funds with real-time transactions. That's from Monica Long. And we're already seeing these things start to take place here. Like the idea that the CFTC is engaging Ripple in a digital asset markets pilot. The fact that US T-bills are being launched in conjunction with BlackRock's Biddle Fund on the XRP ledger. This is remarkable where we're going. I really do believe David's got it right. We're on the cusp of mass institutional adoption, and all the things you've been waiting for XRP Ledger to take off, they'll happen when we get legislation. It is, as I have said, the logjam is legislation. The catalyst for crypto is the United States of America passing and embracing this legislation and innovation. That's what this is.
I feel like we really are on the cusp of a mass institutional adoption, both of...
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And that's why I think we're seeing technical analysts start to see bigger numbers on the charts out here. Whether it's 13 to 16 bucks for a first target, or whether it's $50 and $99 for further targets. We're seeing other analysts align. We could be aiming around $13 and then showing other targets, 32 to 48, 60 to 70, 95 to 110. We've never witnessed what we're about to witness in this space. I have said it before, this market doesn't belong to us anymore. We were here first, but it doesn't belong to us anymore. And it isn't just because Wall Street's come in to buy up all the Bitcoin and the Ethereum and other assets for ETFs. It's because utility is about to be the price driver of this market. And we can't bring enough of that as retail investors because we don't have it. We just speculate. But they have it. And when they bring it, there's nothing to stop anything to say that these numbers couldn't be relevant. It's just a matter of how hard they come when they do. And I think we're going to get a taste of that this year. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.